Welcome again to the third United Voices event. We're so happy you could join us. Before we go any further, I would like to begin this with a territorial acknowledgement. And we take the time to do a territorial acknowledgement because it is a way of honoring the land on which our successes have been built and the Indigenous people who have been living on and caring for this land for thousands of years. As well, it is a long-standing protocol among Indigenous peoples that honors their spiritual connection to the land. Today, we offer it as an act towards reconciliation between non-Indigenous Canadians and the Indigenous peoples of Canada. Today, we also continue to mourn the many children who died at residential schools across Canada and the ongoing trauma of the residential school system. We will continue to work alongside our partners in supporting change, and we commit to listening, learning, and unlearning. We also commit to looking deeply at our own practices that harm, reinforce systemic racism, and contribute to the ongoing legacy of colonialism. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements, and their contributions to our community. And we offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. To prepare us for the rest of our time together, I have two quick housekeeping items that will help us to all get the most out of the experience. So first, we ask that you keep your microphone off unless you are speaking to ask a question or provide a comment. Please use the raise hand function and we will call on you. That way we can see, because we can't always see all the squares of your fabulous faces. Second, please feel free to submit questions and comments through the chat. Myself, and we've got a few others behind the scene, will be monitoring, as well as any raised hands as we go. We are so happy you could join us, and there will be a section of the workshop from our presenters that will be open for discussion, and we encourage you to take your mic off and participate as you feel comfortable, but also again during that discussion time, chat is an option, and we will make sure we share those comments broadly with the group. So this is an important message, again, about well-being and moving forward. We at United Way developed the series, United Voices, so we could do exactly that, provide a forum for people to come together, share your thoughts, concerns, passions, and hopefully walk away just a little more informed, feeling a bit better, or just feeling heard. This is the space for that. United Voices is a vehicle to connect United Way to our community at large and really just engage with you through community leaders, movers, shakers, and change agents. It's also a time where we can hopefully take a breath and do something to soothe ourselves. And Kate and Megan from our longtime partner Horizon are all about those things, and they're here to help us today. So let's dig into our session. I have the honor of introducing our guests. So first, Kate McAllister. Kate, give us a wave. Is a Master's of Social Work and a registered social worker and clinical counselor at Horizon. While she often gets stuck too, she is working on ways to free herself and her clients using ecotherapy, and acceptance and commitment therapy. Kate, you're going to have to correct me. Ecotherapy, I think, is probably the right one. You'll have to share a little more about that. Her hobbies include attempting to meditate while the cat climbs on her and taming her backyard jungle, as well as dragging her kids on hikes. And I'm doing this because that's how it was presented to me, and I don't want you to think that I'm making those assumptions about Kate. Megan Svaraj-Knights is also a social worker and psychotherapist and a member of the North American Drama Therapy Association. She brings a fusion of body and movement-based therapies, developmental transformations, drama therapy, and theater of the oppressed, and a sprinkle of play to help other humans discover, feel, let go, transform, create, heal, and find their unique selves. I think I need this today. I'm excited, Megan. This year, her stuckness has often showed up as strained eyeball muscles, I can relate, the unmet desire to hug her extended family, and a strange sensation that her home is shrinking around her. I think we all can feel some of that as I read that. We're so grateful to have both of you here with us today, and I'm going to stop talking and let you guys take it away. We're excited to see what you have for us.
Thank you so much, Nancy, for that wonderful introduction and territorial acknowledgement. Really appreciate it and really happy to be here. We're seeing some familiar names pop up. I am Megan Sparge Knights. I use the pronouns she and her, as well as they and them. And you've met Kate as well. Kate, would you like to introduce your pronouns?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kate McAllister and I go by she, her pronouns.
Perfect. Thanks, Kate. So we're just inviting you to land. We're going to be talking about getting unstuck. Stuck is a word that we've been hearing a lot in clients and in culture right now. And this is going to be our focus today. So we can move on to the next slide. So we encourage you to grab some paper and a pen if that's possible. And we encourage you to engage as much as possible during through the chat. We will be asking some questions. And I am also going to be doing some other exercises, and so is Kate, that we encourage you to be doing as well. So I know that a lot of us can multitask during these types of presentations, and I would encourage you to just land and just be here and be with us, and just to get the most out of possible today. So we had our own territorial acknowledgement, but they did such a beautiful job, so we'll move past that. And I'll invite you to move inward for a second, and just you can close your eyes or you can soften your gaze. You can place your hands somewhere on your body that feels right, and just take a couple of breaths. And we're going to be searching our body for where our stuckness shows up. Is there an area of tension within your body where that stuckness shows up? It can feel like a pain, it can feel like a pressure, it can feel like a strain. Today, my stuckness seems to be in my lower back. Today, my stuckness also feels like I'm confined to this chair, to the screen. I can't see anybody. Just take a couple moments and notice where your stuckness is. And then acknowledging as well, what does it feel like? If you were to give a name to how your stuckness feels, what is that? Does it feel like a punching? Does it feel like a throbbing? Does it feel like a longing, an unmet desire? And if you were to give a color to that stuckness, or bringing that creative lens in now, if you were to give it a color, what color would it be? And I encourage you to acknowledge how you feel about your stuckness. Are you okay with it being there? Are you angry at it? Are you annoyed with it? Have you just been ignoring it and moving on the best you can? And I would encourage you to bring this into your body in the sense that we're going to give our stuckness an image in our body that can represent how we feel stuck. So that can look like, it can look like clenched hands. It can look like maybe a certain posture in our body, but what does your stuckness feel like? Mine feels like this. And then I invite you to just freeze in that stuck place and breathe here. And really connect with that stuckness. And then we're going to shake it out in 3, 2, 1. Shake it out. Shake out that stuckness. So I encourage you to take a moment and put anything that just what that experience was like in the chat. We won't be able to go through everybody's, but, where did you find your stuckness? What color is it? Take a moment and put that in the chat and share with us. Yeah, so head, neck, diaphragm, shoulders, color orange, low back. Felt nice to focus on my body. Brown muck, ooh, yeah. Felt it in my brows and forehead. Lost in fog. Shoulders and neck, color mauve. Red in color. Feelings of sadness, annoyance, and frustration. Feeling it in your chest, rain cloud gray. So lots of colors, gray, brown, red, knotted ball, tight, head, neck, chest. Great. Thank you. Thank you for doing that exercise with me and for exploring that in your body. Kate, can you remind me if this is my slide or your slide?
Yeah, I'm doing this one.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Megan. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what's happening right now in the world. Not that we want to reflect on that too much, but we've been facing a lot of world events lately. You might have noticed in the news. We've got a worldwide pandemic, in case you've been under a rock for the last year and a half. We've got political unrest. We've got some horrific acts of violence, some horrible things happening. The tragedy with the family in London, all of the bodies being discovered at the residential schools. We may be noticing this lack of social justice or equity in our society, and that can be incredibly frustrating as well. We're noticing things around racism, sexism, homophobia. And in this constant news cycle that we're watching, often over social media, just this constant stream of all of these things, one after another. Some people have taken to calling that doom scrolling, just scrolling through your phone. What's the next bad thing that's going to pop up on my phone? And it can be really, really painful. And what does all of this stuff result in? Well, we've got anxiety, fear, and uncertainty, as I'm sure everybody's experienced to some level this past year or so. A lot of frustration and a lot of helplessness, a lot of situations that are just beyond our control, nothing that we can do to fix immediately any of these things, and we feel helpless. We may be experiencing grief. You maybe have experienced some very tangible loss, the loss of people, or it could be something that we call disenfranchised grief, which may be something like the loss of a job, the loss of normalcy. What is normal anymore? The loss of our normal, our ability to get together with our families. That is loss, that is grief as well. As well, a lot of people are dealing with chronic stress or burnout. If you're working in a caring industry, say you work in long-term care or nursing or any of the caring professions, you may be experiencing pretty severe burnout dealing with all of this right now. And all in all, what this all leads to is a sense of feeling stuck. Megan, back to you.
So I just want to acknowledge we've done this individual stuckness exercise and discovered where our stuckness is in our own selves. And I would just invite you, we don't have the time to kind of get into this, but if you were to look at it broaden the lens and look at it more collectively, as a family or as an organization, as a nation of Canada, or as the world, like where is our collective stuckness? Where does that exist? And what does it feel like? When does it show up? What color or colors is it? And how are you feeling about that stuckness? Does that stuckness feel different than your own personal stuckness? Is it related to the collective stuckness? Sadness, yes. If you would like to write in the chat, please go ahead and and share your what you've noticed about collective stuckness. And just wanting to integrate this piece of how the collective impacts the personal and the personal impacts the collective. Heart heaviness and sadness. Yes, knowing that we do not control collective stuckness, excuse me. Yeah, stomach. Yeah, good. So what we're going to attempt to do in this workshop is to acknowledge both personal stuckness and collective stuckness, as they are both impacting us. I'm hearing a lot more hopelessness with the collective stuckness in the chat here. Yes, a distance and an unknowability, unable to see a resolution. It's a bit harder, right? Good. Okay, thank you.
Just let me know when you want to move on, Meg, and I'll click.
We can click on to the next one. Sorry, my cat's tail is joining us. So I just want to quickly talk about polyvagal theory as a way to understand what is happening in our body and in our nervous system when we're feeling stuck. And it's similar to window of tolerance, but it is different. It looks a little bit more specifically at what's happening in our bodies. And this is a theory that Dr. Stephen, I don't know if it's Porges or Porges, has come up with. I was introduced to it through Marika Henriks at Wild Body in Guelph. And if you're interested in this type of work, she's a really great resource nearby. So just to go really quickly, noticing the arrow at the side that says arousal increases. So the amount of threat that our body is picking up on. So when there is a low threat perception, we're socially engaged. This is where we feel joy, we feel present, we feel curious and compassionate, we feel connection and safety. Noticing that the line between the green and the red goes up and down. It is not natural. We're not meant to be in this social engagement piece 100% of the time. It is very normal for us to be, going through our day like, oh, la, la, I'm feeling good and connected. Oh, what's that thing over there? Oh, okay, it's all right. Okay, all right, let's go on through. I'm feeling good and connected. Oh, what was that thing over there? That is very normal and typical, going up and down through social engagement and fight or flight. You'll see that as the threat in our external world increases, we move into fight or flight. We move into that sympathetic nervous system response. This is, so flight is when you want to move away from that thing that's threatening you, and fight is when you want to move towards the thing that's threatening you. And in fight or flight, there's this sense of like, I can do something about it. By running away, I can protect myself. By running towards it and fighting it, I can protect myself. The next level, when that threat gets even higher, or it lasts longer, we go into this free place. And that's when we feel like we can't do it anymore. There's nothing that we can do. This is where the overwhelmness, the numbness, depression, feeling trapped, all that happens. And for a lot of us, we've been up in freeze mode with the pandemic, with everything that's happening in the world, with all of the collective stuckness that we're feeling as a people, as a human, as humans. And so noticing the difference in our bodies between flight and fight versus freeze. So in our bodies, flight or fight can feel like a pounding heart. It can feel like tons of adrenaline, like I'm ready to go. It can feel like panic attacks. It can feel like just feeling so frustrated all the time. And then freeze is a little bit more, I just can't. Just like this sense of, I'm just going to lie here. Doesn't matter if I move, I can't do anything to protect myself anyway. I'm hearing about, what about a fawn response? So fawn is definitely also a type of response. I don't know if polyvagal theory talks specifically about it, but fawn, I think, would probably fit into that sympathetic place where you're trying to help yourself by fawning. But I would have to get back to you about that, Abby, but thank you for the question. And then as that threat from outside decreases, we deactivate and we move back into social engagement where we feel present and grounded and connected to each other, connected to nature, connected to ourselves. And so just take a minute to just think for yourself, where am I right now in my stuckness? Where on this curve would I locate myself in this moment? Can you still be frozen in social engagement? Sarah, I'm not sure that I quite understand your question. Would you mind popping on your mic to tell me a little more about that? Okay, yeah, it's fine to type. Sure. What do you mean by frozen in social engagement? Come back to it. Okay, perfect. Sure, that sounds good. So just an understanding of what is happening in your body and knowing that it's like a very natural thing to do and that your body is trying to protect you by doing these things. We can move to the next slide, Kate.
Okay, so in the process of this pandemic, we've come to have these impossible expectations of ourselves, like to keep up with our regular routines. I should be able to do this. A lot of shoulds. I'm hearing a lot of clients of mine saying, I should be able to do this. What's wrong with me? I should be able to maintain a positive mood and put on a happy face. I have everything I need. Why can't I do this? I should be able to keep working at our typical capacity. Why am I not getting as much done as I normally would be getting done? And we have this expectation to use this as an opportunity for self-improvement. There's some really toxic memes going around the internet talking about, have you been wasting this time, this extra time that you have to yourself? If you're not using this as an opportunity, what does that say about you? And then we also have impossible expectations of other people. We're expecting other people to live up to our standards, and that's never fair. And we expect them to behave in ways that are consistent with our values and to experience things in the same way we do. We just put these expectations on other people. But what this doesn't do is acknowledge the difficult situation we're in. It fails to recognize the unique circumstances that other people find themselves in as well. I heard a good description saying we're all in the same storm on the ocean, but we're all in very different boats. And some people are on, little life preservers, and some of us are on yachts. And so taking that into consideration is important. If we look at Maslow's triangle, the reasons this isn't working becomes really clear. So we talk about this hierarchy of needs a lot in psychology, where you look at the bottom. I think you can see my mouse. The basic needs, physiological needs, food, water, warmth, rest. This is the basis for everything else. You have to start here. If these things aren't met, you cannot progress up the triangle. So, and then the second one being safety needs, security and safety. And we're seeing a lot of people have even had the base of this triangle ripped away from them when they don't know if they're going to have a job next week, when they don't know if they're going to be able to afford rent or food, or are they going to be able to access the food bank, and where are they going to get the help that they need. The basic stuff here has been ripped away. And then belongingness and love needs are intimate relationships and friends. Some people, are finding themselves incredibly isolated right now. all of the restrictions around the pandemic. I mean, some of the restrictions are starting to lift, so there's some optimism on this part of the triangle for a lot of people, but becoming more and more isolated and becoming more distanced from the people that we care about. Those are all pieces that have been ripped away. So this feeling of accomplishment and feeling of self-actualization, these top two pieces of the triangle don't have really much hope of we don't have much hope of getting here if all of this foundational stuff has been ripped away from us. And this is where a lot of people are struggling right now with getting some of these basic things. And so the expectations that we put on ourselves and others are just simply not fair. Something that...
Sorry,
yes.
Kate, before you go further, it's Nancy. There was a question in the chat I wonder if you would address. So the question is, would addictions challenges fit itself into the bottom of the triangle?
Did you say addiction?
Addiction challenges, yes.
Okay, so addiction is commonly phrased as a way to avoid uncomfortable feelings. What they often do say is that addiction is the opposite of that connection and belonging piece. So when you're addicted to something, it's usually because you don't have some of these other needs met, and that those things are kind of opposed. So the triangle are things that we do want, and addiction isn't necessarily fit into the triangle because it's not something we do want, but it might be a reaction to not having some of those pieces.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I can't see the chat because I'm sharing my screen. It won't let me open the chat. So if anyone wants to pop in at any time, thank you, Nancy. Something we've been doing with a lot of clients these days. Oh, now it's letting me. Okay. No, I can't even close that. Okay, hang on a sec. I have to close this here. The annotate is not. I think I have to stop share and share again because it's put. Oh, never mind. Got it. There we go. Okay. We talk about things that are and are not within our control. And when we start to look at this, we realize there are a lot of things that are in our control, but there are things that we have to let go. And when it comes to the pandemic, I think, Megan, you said you're going to read some off to me. All right, folks, it's your turn. Start listing off things that are within your control right now when it comes to the pandemic. And just pop those in the chat.
Our reaction to the news, whether or not we get vaccinated, self-care,
Excellent.
how I treat others,
Perfect.
myself, going for a walk every day, nutrition and exercise. Ooh, how much time I spend on social media, how we tell our children about what's going on. Oh man, it's moving so fast. I might be missing some of them. Routines, I think I saw, healthy living. Some of these are kind of in the same theme. Spending quality time with my kids, self-love, virtual connections with people I love, healthy routines, but also fun stuff.
Okay, we're running out of space here. So
there's so many good control.
Perfect. And you know what? I don't know why it made it blue on top of blue. So we'll just pretend that didn't happen. And we'll move over because I can't go back and fix that. So we'll go up to, okay, these are perfect. These are things that are within your control, but there are pieces that you probably need to let go of. What are those pieces now?
What are things we do not have control over?
Yep. What do we need to let go of? What can we not control?
We cannot control what other people share on social media, other people's actions, violence, COVID cases, the number I'm assuming, what stage of reopening we're in, the government, other people's choices, similar themes, COVID restrictions, how others react, government decisions, the weather, whether school is open or not, what has happened in the past, the border, the outcome, what other people believe. Are we out of space?
Okay, we're out of space here, and I've got pictures on the other side, so I'm not going to fill in that side. So I think people have done a wonderful job here. These are perfect examples, and thank you for reading them out to me, Megan. That sometimes we spend a lot of time focusing on things that we cannot control, watching those graphs go up and down, vaccinations going up, numbers going down, and then when they're not going the way we want, and we don't have any control over that. There's absolutely something to be said for being well informed. Absolutely. But there's being well informed and there's being overly informed and constantly connected with that, to the exclusion of all of the other things that matter to us. Those things like self-care, going for walks, time on, how we talk to our children, spending time on quality activities, healthy living, and all of those things that make us feel in control. If we put our attention on the things we can control, we are much more likely to be able to move forward in a positive direction. All right, hope that makes sense to everybody. Perfect examples. Thanks for all of your participation there. To clear that so I can click again. Okay, and then we come to this differentiating between self-care and self-pity, because this gets messed up on the internet all the time, in that people say, oh yeah, this is self-care. I'm going to ditch work for a week and I'm going to take bubble baths and I deserve this this chocolate cake, and I'm going to binge drink until I can't see anymore. And that, I'm afraid, is not self-care. You'll see those sorts of things with a hashtag self-care on Twitter all over the place. I'm going to neglect my responsibilities and I'm going to indulge. That's indulgence. It's self-pity. It's saying, I deserve this because I'm having a hard time. So it might be drinking to extremes, binge eating, watching, binge scrolling, neglecting basic needs even. I'm not even going to bother getting up and taking care of my body. Avoiding emotions and negative feelings. So that avoiding things, that might be addictive behaviors might fit into here when you're feeling really awful, trying to get out of that. And then neglecting responsibilities too. Now, self-care, on the other hand, is acknowledging the challenges that we're facing, engaging in healthy habits, paying attention to what our bodies need, and seeking help when necessary. And most importantly, just overall taking actions that are aligned with goals and values, and being the type of person that you want to be in moments of difficulty. So recognizing this is different from this. And people are worried, like, oh, if I engage in self-care, it's indulgent. It's indulgent if I take care of myself. Well, that's not true. It's taking care of these things. It's self-parenting, it's self-compassion, it's taking care of the important things and not this kind of stuff. And Megan.
Yeah, so I actually just threw this in here because I was on Instagram, and Hey Tiffany Rowe is a really awesome Instagram account to follow if you are hoping to surround your social media accounts with helpful and wellness based stuff rather than doom scrolling stuff. Hey Tiffany Rowe is great, and she posted something around processing emotional reactions in 10 steps. Pause and a self-reflection of, why am I having this reaction? And what does this remind me of? So for example, earlier today, my dog was trying to eat something that she's not supposed to eat. And I had a big reaction to it. Okay, why am I having this reaction? I'm having this reaction because I'm frustrated, because I'm worried that my dog's gonna get sick, because I'm worried about being late for work, etc. What does this remind me of? Okay, this reminds me of other places in my life that I just can't, why can't anything go right? Is there a need that's being unmet? Is there an attachment need? Is there a physiological or social need that you have there that's being unmet? Is there a boundary that's being crossed? Is someone else crossing my boundary? What sensations am I noticing in my body? And here's that embodiment piece coming back. So what is happening in your body? Are your fist clenching up? Is your heart beating really fast? Are you grinding your teeth? Or are you just kind of feeling like, what sensations are coming up? And then with that, what thoughts are firing? Often what firing is, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing a good enough job. My kids didn't ace school this year on virtual school. I must be a bad parent. That kind of stuff. And then what emotions do those thoughts spark? So what happens is that the reaction that you're having to this small thing turns into like emotions and thoughts about like bigger assumptions, like I'm a bad parent, which is not helpful. And focusing back in on what is in my control and what is not in my control, and what can help me right now. So acknowledging when things are blowing up, and then bringing yourself into a place of like, what can I actually do right now that is in my control? You can go to the next slide. So I highly recommend this book. It's called The Secret Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. It is written by twins, Emily Nagoski, who has a PhD, and Amelia Nagoski, who is a concert conductor, an orchestra conductor. And they did some research into how we can complete that stress cycle. So if you think back to the polyvagal theory that I was talking about, and how when we get really stressed and it comes up here, they're talking about how do we move into that deactivation piece and bringing you back down into the green, helping our body to release that sense of something's wrong and moving into a place where we feel safer. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you are, physical activity is the single most efficient way to complete the stress response cycle. And often a lot of folks will say to me like, oh, but like, I'm not someone who works out. Like, that's not who I am. Like, I can't go for a run. Like I have injuries, like my body doesn't do that. And I understand that. They talk in the book about how while going for a run or something like that is ideal, there's other things you can do as well. So for example, just using your hands when you're sitting down, squeezing them really, really tight into fists, squeeze, 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 squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. And then when they start to get really tired, and then you let go and feel that muscle relaxation, that release counts as that physical activity as well. So there's no excuses for not having physical activity of some sort. And there's other ideas in the book as well. Other things that are helpful and that Kate's going to talk a little bit more later, breathing, positive social interaction where you're building each other up and laughing, affection. And I know that these things are a little bit harder to get at right now because of restrictions, but it can also be turning on, your favorite sitcom and allowing yourself to laugh out loud with it. A big old cry also releases that tension out of your body and allows you to complete the stress cycle. And finally, creative expression. So, a lot of people say like, but Megan, like, I'm not an artist. I can't draw. Creative expression for the purpose of completing the stress cycle is not about drawing the bowl of fruit in a perfect way so that everybody knows that it's a bowl of fruit. When I'm talking about creative expression, I'm talking about taking a crayon and taking a piece of paper and scribbling down how you're feeling and just like getting it out, and then maybe ripping the paper up if you want to, or maybe you're not that angry. Maybe there's like another other type of physical creative expression. I really enjoy singing, that type of thing, to help get some of that threatened, I don't know what to call it, that threatened energy out and help us complete that cycle. And we got lots of other people saying that they enjoy this book too, so highly recommended. We can go to the next slide, Kate.
Okay, so one strategy that I guarantee you've heard this word before, mindfulness, it's a way of bringing ourselves into the present. Now, what I like to talk about with my clients is that a lot of anxiety and a lot of discomfort, a lot of things that we're makes us, a lot of the time when we're uncomfortable, what we're doing is we're actually time traveling. We're actually living in the future, those what ifs. What if I lose my job? What if COVID never goes away? What if the vaccines are delayed? What if, all of those horrible things that we could catastrophize into the future? Or we're living in the past. I can't believe I went through that awful stuff. I can't believe I got fired. I can't believe I said that awkward thing in that meeting on Zoom, whatever it was, right? Replaying the past or catastrophizing into the future. And we're not spending a heck of a lot of time here. Time traveling is very dangerous. It can make you very anxious. It can make you very depressed. And so I recommend when you are out here time traveling, you come back to the present. And in the present, we actually have a chance to take action, to make changes, to do those things that Megan mentioned, whether it's creative expression or having a big old cry in the present and being right here, feeling our bodies and feeling what we are feeling in the now, okay? So we practice a lot of grounding and breathing types of exercises. A lot of these types of things I'm practicing with clients these days, just trying to bring ourselves back to center. I'm going to do like the quickest little clipped version of this right now. So if everyone can just get your body into a comfortable position, drop your shoulders. And most of you have your screens off, so we can't see you if you're doing this or not. So I hope you're doing it. Okay, drop your shoulders. Let your belly like fully expand. Like, we'd always doing that sit up straight, tuck your tummy in and whatever that we're told to do. No, do the opposite. Relax your shoulders. Let your belly just inflate. Whenever you breathe in, let that belly blow up like a balloon. And then let it contract again when we exhale. When you breathe in for say 3 and then out for 6. So exhale for twice the length that you inhale. Oftentimes what we end up doing when we're anxious is we overbreathe. We end up getting too much oxygen. And that just sends a signal to the brain that it needs to keep freaking out. We need to give it the signal that, no, you're safe and you're calm. And this way of breathing, in for 3 and out for 6, it actually mimics the way we breathe when we're calm, when we're sleeping, actually, these long exhales. And so just whenever you're feeling stressed, drop your shoulders, let your stomach expand, and then in for 3, out for 6, and repeat that like 5 times. And then the way you bring yourself back to the present is by using your 5 senses. This is one of many, many possible grounding exercises, but that's my favorite one. And what I do is I look around the room and I find 5 things that I can see. So I might look at a plant, and I might look at my Kermit the Frog stuffed animal over there, and I might look at a snow globe. And I'm trying to really engage with the colors and the shapes and the textures that I see around me. And then I might find 4 things that I can feel. At that point, I might say, okay, I can feel the warmth of my hands. I can feel the hard desk in front of me. I can feel my hair on my neck, and I can feel my toes on the carpet. And then I might find 3 things that I can hear. And if I listened really carefully, I could maybe hear some traffic outside. I might hear the buzz of my computer, and I might hear my cat scratching on the door. And then 2 things I can smell, and I might get really intentional here. If I had some essential oils or something, I might smell them. Or maybe I just say, oh, I can smell my shampoo, or I can smell somebody's cooking downstairs. And then 1 thing I can taste. I might pull out my water bottle and have a drink of water, or pop a stick of gum or something. And you use these exercises to bring yourself into the present. This is a panic attack gold star stopper, using the breathing exercises and the grounding exercises. This is something that can help bring you back to the present and halt that time traveling instinct that we all keep getting stuck in. The other thing I want to tell you about is the choice point. We're going to go through this really quickly. When we're encountering a difficult situation, there's always along with it accompanying thoughts and feelings. And we find ourselves at what we call the choice point. And at that choice point, we have a choice. We can either move away from our goals and values, living the type of life we want and being the type of person that we want to be, or we can take action towards our goals and values, being the person that we want to be. And so our old patterns might leave us feeling stuck. Those might be addictions. It might be whole weekends of Netflix binging. So it's usually the over here would be self-destructive behaviors, things that you know are not helping you get towards your goals and values. But then over here, things that align with our goals and values, how you want to show up in the world. And it's also about being self-compassionate and looking after your own self-care. So whenever you're finding yourself in a difficult situation, and I know everything's not this black and white, but if you can sort of frame it this way, you'll notice that, if I wake up and I'm in a bad mood, I could stay in bed all day, not go to work, and just not do any of my responsibilities, or I can make an effort to take care of myself and do the things that I need to do that are going to make me feel better. Now, that being said, I don't want to negate anybody who's really struggling with getting out of bed in the morning. It may be that getting out of bed or spending some time resting appropriately is a towards move for you if you're burnt out or something like that. So these aren't going to be the same for everybody. Somebody's away move might be somebody's towards move. So it's going to be individual for everybody. Okay. So I don't want to stigmatize any particular decisions. Just know that, just be aware of your own patterns, what's keeping you feeling stuck and what helps you feel like you're moving forward. Megan.
So we've talked a lot about how to get unstuck in a personal way. And that's because one of the reasons for that is because it is the most, we have more control over our personal than we do the collective. But I wanted to add a slide into, how do we contribute to getting unstuck as a collective, rather than just disengaging and getting into that kind of sense of helplessness. Are there things that we can do to work towards collective unstuckness without getting into that overwhelmed place? So I just threw down some ideas. Social connection across political and social constructs. We tend to stick with people who think, look, and have similar life experience as us. And I would really encourage you to get to know people outside of that realm. You don't have to spend 24/7 with them, but connecting with them for the purpose of seeing them as a human being, not for the purpose of being right over them. I also really, drama therapist here, but the co-creation of art, theater and improv is a really beautiful way of doing it. Chalk work with other adults or that sort of thing, things that where you can co-create art together, however that means to you. Maybe it's a music video, whatever is up to you, to work together on getting unstuck. Political engagement, writing a letter to your MP. Hello, excuse me, thank you. Showing up at a march of some sort, contributing in that way. I mentioned this already, but seeing others in their humanity. So I know I've definitely been guilty of getting into some social media disagreements, but really trying to see the other person's humanity behind that, and what is it what needs or feelings are evoking that opinion. Adult play and silliness. We don't play enough as adults. We don't play. We're scared of it. We are always so serious. Taking the time to play, to dance, to be silly is so good for connecting with other humans and getting unstuck. And finally, seeking stories from folks who are not the same as you. So similar to making connections across constructs, but I'm also thinking about reading novels or watching media that is about someone who's not like you. Maybe it's about someone in Argentina. Maybe it's about someone of a different race. Maybe it's about someone who has a different experience in life, and just kind of connecting, helping with the unstuckness in those ways by making those connections. Just wanted to encourage that piece.
Okay, so we're just, we don't have too much time left, but I was hoping, this is why we asked you to get out a pen and paper. And to maybe start thinking about, what is it that you value that makes you want to make a change? What is going to be your one small step that you take away from this presentation? And maybe fill this out for yourself. Because I value whatever it is, I will make this one small step. And this is important because I will take a first step, and when that would be. And the first thing that I need to do to prepare for that is what? Something that might get in the way is what? And I plan to overcome that by doing this. So I'll give you an example here. Because I value my physical health, I will take a walk 5 out of 7 days this week. This is important because I know that it will help my physical and my mental health getting outside. I'll take a first step. You know what? I'm going to take a walk this afternoon once we get off this call. The first thing I need to do is, well, I'm going to need to put my shoes on and get out the door. Or maybe I need to do something else. Maybe you need something else to do preparation-wise. Something that might get in the way is my kids might want something, and I plan to overcome that by having them come along with me. That's me dragging my kids on the walk full circle. So that's just an example there, and I'm just hoping everyone else might be able to come up with their own one small step that could help them just move a little bit away from that stuck feeling into the I can make changes, into the I can do hard things realm. So we're going to pull up here. We have a couple discussion questions here. We don't have a lot of time left. And again, I can't see the chat, so someone else is going to have to moderate that. But just maybe reflect on these questions. Where are you feeling most stuck? Is it in your body? Is it in particular aspects of your life, your job, your relationships, your hobbies, habits? What is it? Where are you feeling most stuck? What keeps you moving forward? What motivates you? What inspires you and keeps you going in a positive direction? And would anyone be willing to share their intended small step via the chat? So I want to figure out if I can't seem to get the chat open.
So Kate, I can so people are feeling stuck in terms of their mood and not no more playfulness, and also stuck in their career. And then it was shared that my kids keep me going. And someone shared, I'm not sure if it's okay to use names because of the recording, so I'm just avoiding that. Someone said that their small step is to start to laugh every day. Someone else is to continue to work out every day.
Maybe we can just look to see everybody in front of us now. Do we need the questions, or can we just have this discussion now? Is that okay?
Up to you.
Okay, so let's hear them. I'm seeing, okay, yeah, start to laugh at it, continue to work out every day. Okay, my kids keep me going, and my feeling stuck in career, probably, I'm guessing. I set a goal this year to walk every day. I set up a chart and literally give myself a gold star when I walk. Very satisfying to my inner kindergartner. I am all in favor of gold stars. I love that answer. I have a checklist app that I use. Seeing a career counselor, what a perfect way to get unstuck. If you're feeling stuck in your career, what a perfect step. I've seen some people say, I'm going to get my resume in order. Absolutely. What's everyone else going to do? Dance dinners? I want to hear what dance dinners are.
That sounds great.
My kid tends not to sit at the table very often, so we convince him to come in the kitchen and pick his favorite songs. Recently been Barbie Girl and Crazy Frog, so that gets him sitting and eating with us.
Wonderful. Thank you. What a fun way to mix it up, right? Our kids are stuck too. So if we can find ways to get the kids unstuck, put some music on, get dancing, get silly with the kids. Kids can be really, really helpful at getting us unstuck because they can make us think about things in a different way. I love that. I'm seeing telling myself all I have to do is put on my walking shoes, and usually once they're on, it's easy to get out the door. Right. Sometimes just do the one step, right? And think, okay, I'm not even going to worry about walking yet. I'm just going to do the one thing. Put on my shoes. Well, shoes are on. Might as well go for a walk now. Awesome. After dinner games every night. Yoga, yoga, yoga. Yoga is wonderful for stuckness. Absolutely. Enjoy playing in the dirt. There's a fellow gardener there attending to my gardens. Absolutely. Gardens. There's anything you can do in nature right now, do, because that will, nature is incredibly healing, and time spent in nature can really reduce stress and anxiety for sure. Getting to the beach, wonderful. Water is a place where a lot of people find a lot of soothing, healing, but also that's a time to play and get silly maybe, or a time to relax, depending on how you approach the beach. Some perfect examples here. Feeling stuck behind the computer and find small ways to connect to nature daily is helping. Absolutely. Whether it's, you know, if it's as small as having a 5-minute meditation with a recording of birds and water, if that's all you can do in 5 minutes between meetings, maybe it's something like that. Absolutely. But if you can get out in nature, even better. Get out camping. I feel like I need to contribute or take action to get us all out of this pandemic. Just signed up as a volunteer to help at a vaccination clinic, something small, but feels like action. That is fabulous. What a wonderful idea. That's exactly the kind of thing we're looking for here. You feel like you're making a difference. Perfect.
A great combination of getting unstuck both collectively and personally. That's beautiful.
Exactly. Take a minute every hour to disconnect and reconnect. So maybe you're doing that. Just take a look out the window and look at the trees outside, or spend some time deep breathing, or just doing that 5 senses grounding, getting yourself back centered so you're not just frazzled all over the place. People here have great ideas.
And Megan, it's Joan speaking now. I could imagine we could go on and on and on. But no matter what, it's 2 minutes to the end of our time together. And I wanted to respect that for the folks that have joined us. But I couldn't imagine that this couldn't go on for another hour or so. Because being unstuck, what a great topic, what a great presentation. And I want to thank you. This has been a great presentation for United Way, but it is all about United Voices. As Nancy said in her opening, we started United Voices three ideas ago, or this is our third idea. The idea really is to connect our community, to connect people's voices, and your voices today, both you and Kate and Megan, your voices are helpful, inspiring, and I can tell you, I'm feeling less stuck than I was at the beginning of this conversation. And I bet many people on this call today have done the same thing. The great thing is that we've taped this, we've videoed it, and so that people can connect on our website. And please, for Kate and Megan, send that out through your network too, that people could listen to the amazing work that Corizon does. We are a grateful partner with you in the community, and I know United Way has been there for many years. But that's what inspires us to raise the money that we do to get to the community, to help the best we possibly can. The whole team at United Way is grateful for your participation today. There's no real big words that I can say that would express that, but I know that both Nancy and our team, I think Julie's here. Julia has a huge part to play in this. Julia, maybe you could stick on your video if you like to wave at us. There's Julia, because behind the scenes, Julia has done so much to pull this together, and Ashara and the whole marketing team. This is an important piece of what United Way is. And so as I look at our 1 o'clock, right on the dot, thank you. Thank you from all of us. Thank you to your organization for lending to us today. But thank you for your inspiration and your book ideas and your Instagram ideas and all the other things, and things I never even knew about before we talked today. But the biggest word for me is collaborative work. And you said it in impossible expectations. So let's not be impossible about what we do, and take your thoughts with us as we continue through this day and every day. So again, thanks to everybody that's joined us today. This is a great example of community connectiveness. Thank you for being here. And to anybody that would like to connect with us further, please feel free to connect with Nancy. and we can add you to our Unstuck list of things to connect with the community. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.